Good morning, everyone. This is Mr. Sandblum. I'm going to run you through a little lesson on run-on sentences. Before we talk about run-on sentences and fill in the notes here, I think it's important to go back up to the beginning of our lesson and review some important vocabulary. So we know that run-on sentences occur when two or more independent clauses, also known as complete sentences, are connected improperly. Also, it's important to know a comma, and a comma is a punctuation mark, which you have seen before, indicates a pause or break between parts of a sentence. And last but not least is a conjunction. A conjunction is a word that is used to connect clauses or sentences. So examples of that could be and, but, or, whatever one of those you choose to connect your clauses. So now that we've reviewed the important vocabulary, I want to scroll back down to our notes for today. So most of the time when I'm giving instruction, I will ask you to be taking notes as well. So I will type in notes into the document and I will expect you to do the same. Usually I will indicate with spaces or highlights where those notes should be taken so that it's super crystal clear for you. And then these will allow you to effectively do the independent practice, any discussion, and then also complete the mastery check. So, when we are talking about this, we know from the definitions that we already talked about that a run-on sentence connects two or more independent clauses in an incorrect fashion. So essentially, right, that is an attempt at a compound sentence. And a compound sentence is a sentence that has at least two independent clauses. So I'm going to take away this blank and put the number 2. One more time, a compound sentence is a sentence that has at least two independent clauses. And for the purposes of this, it shouldn't have more than that. So why don't we just say two independent clauses? Second, we need to know what an independent clause looks like. So an independent clause is a simple sentence. I went to the park, I went to the store, right? Those are examples of independent clauses. So now what we're going to do is we are going to look at an example of a run-on sentence here. And we are going to change the sentence, add punctuation so that the sentence is correct and it avoids being a run-on sentence. So when I read this sentence, you should be thinking, how would I correct this sentence to make it not a run-on sentence? Example 1, eSchool is challenging because it is hard to communicate with my misunderstanding of content without talking in person. eSchool is necessary because we cannot leave our houses. So when I look at that example, I see two independent clauses that are connected incorrectly. So I know that this is a run-on sentence, and I helped you out here by actually highlighting where the break is between the two independent clauses that is done incorrectly. So when I look at this example, I know that in order to connect this, I can't just have a comma here. I also need to have a conjunction, and a conjunction that connects these two, right? So these are conflicting independent clauses. So in this case, I want to put the word but here, right? So it says eSchool is challenging because it is hard to communicate with my misunderstanding of content without talking in person. But eSchool is necessary because we cannot leave our houses. Right? So this conjunction of but with the comma before that connects the two independent clauses in the correct fashion. So examples of conjunctions that you can use to connect independent clauses. I'm going to fill in some blanks here. If you've heard of fanboys, that is the conjunctions we're going to be using. So for, and, nor, but, or, yet, and so. So if you are using one of these conjunctions to connect two independent clauses, that's one way to do this to avoid a run-on sentence, right? Additionally, to correctly connect two independent clauses, you must, like the example that we went over, use a comma, so I'm going to type that here, and a conjunction in that specific order, right? So one more time, a conjunction would be something like for, and, nor, but, or, yet, or so, right? And last but not least, make sure that your conjunction, just like we talked about up here with but, shows the correct relationship between the two clauses. So one more time, we want to avoid run-on sentences by correctly connecting independent clauses using a comma and a conjunction to make a punctuated and grammatically correct compound sentence. Thank you and best of luck with the rest of the lesson.